Hey guys, I am the Comics Kid 2099. Originally, for today's video, I was planning on posting a review of a book I read this week. That has now been pushed to next week because a ton of stuff has been announced for people who are into comic books and comic book related things. So I'm going to let this video be my thoughts on all of the stuff that has been announced over the last couple of days. Starting with the casting of Wonder Woman. Gul Dukat from Deep Space Nine has been cast as Wonder Woman. Actually, I'm just kidding. It's a lady whose name is Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot. I don't know how to say her name. Her name sounds Cardassian. Anyway, I've never seen this lady in anything before, so I'm going to reserve my judgment for when this movie comes out. But I do want to take this time to rant about something that I have ranted about in the past regarding X-Men Days of Future Past, and I will be getting to X-Men in a minute. A month or so ago, I did a video talking about how even though I am super excited for X-Men Days of Future Past, and I think the story itself is going to be pretty good, I am not happy about the fact that Bryan Singer has tried to shove 25 characters who are ultimately not going to be important to the story into that movie. That is my biggest complaint about Days of Future Past right now, just from what we've seen, and it looks like that is going to be a huge problem across the board for the next couple of years. In the Superman-Batman movie, we've got Superman, Batman, rumors that Nightwing is going to be cast, rumors that Metallo is going to be in the movie, and now we've got Wonder Woman. I'm wondering, why couldn't we have just done a Justice League movie where the Justice League is already formed and then Superman joins the team after the events of Man of Steel? If they wanted to do a Superman-Batman movie, then just do a Superman-Batman movie. I think my biggest problem with Man of Steel was that we didn't get to see enough of an exploration of the Superman status quo in this universe. He joins the Daily Planet literally at the very end of the movie. I would like to see more exploration of that, the Clark Kent Superman dynamic, more of Perry White and Lois Lane. I fear that we are still not going to get any of that because this is basically going to be a Justice League movie. And the problem is, when your movie is at most 2.5 hours long, and if this is still going to be typical Zack Snyder, half an hour of that is going to be solid action with absolutely no character moments at all. You're really pushing it here. You're shoving way too many characters into this movie. Ultimately, I am afraid that not a whole lot of character stuff is really going to be happening in this movie. I might get more excited when I see a trailer, but for now, I'm really afraid that they are trying to go too fast, too soon. When you look at the Avengers movie, that movie made $1 billion, so naturally everyone is going to try and copy that. What these movies are all forgetting is that the Avengers took like 5 years to get where it was. It started in 2008, slowly building to the Avengers movie in 2012. These movies are all trying to get there in like 2 years, and that is a problem. They need to slow it down and build these characters, build these worlds a little slower than what they are doing. And that's really my overall complaint across the board with everything I am going to be talking about here. The next thing I want to talk about is the Amazing Spider-Man trailer, which today, the day before this video goes up for myself, that video, the trailer, has gone online. It looks like a really exciting movie. The problem is they're shoving 3 villains into this movie, and I am afraid that they are not going to be able to do a whole lot with any of these villains because they are all going to be vying for screen time together. The last time that a Spider-Man movie tried to shove this many villains into a movie was Spider-Man 3, and everyone hated that movie. The problem with that movie was that they tried to do too many things. The problem with just about all of the worst superhero movies, there are a few exceptions, but you look back, some of the really bad superhero movies, Batman Returns, The Dark Knight Rises, I'm going to put that in this category, Spider-Man 3, all of these movies tried to do way too much in not enough time. If this movie is going to be 5 hours long, sure, it's okay to have the Rhino, Electro, Harry, and Norman Osborn all as villains in this movie. But this is going to be 2 hours, give or take, and I don't think that is enough time to build all of this up. I personally think what's going to happen is Harry Osborn is going to be introduced, and then 3 minutes later he's going to be a villain. And that is a problem. Harry Osborn is supposed to be a character who slowly gets built up to be a villain for Peter. It took 50 or 60 issues for him to go from being Peter's friend to being the new Green Goblin. Like, it took a long time for Harry to become a supervillain in the comics. And while there are a lot of things about the Sam Raimi trilogy that I do not like, at least Harry Osborn was not a villain as soon as he was introduced. It took a good long while for him to get built up to that point, and I felt like it was believable. The problem here is that I'm not going to feel like Peter and Harry are friends at all, because we are introduced to Harry, and then as soon as we see him, he starts being a villain and he becomes the new Green Goblin. I think this is a problem. Now, maybe I'm going to be proven wrong, but I feel like this movie, along with several of these, specifically the Spider-Man 2 movie, I feel like it's trying to run a marathon after just learning to walk. A lot of people had some problems with Amazing Spider-Man. I personally thought it was better than all of the Spider-Man movies that came before. Now I'm afraid that this movie is going to wreck all of that. I know that they are doing a Spider-Man movie every 2 years, and that actually had me pretty excited because I felt, okay, when you're doing that many movies so close together, you can do a whole lot of villains really quickly. In the span of 6 years, you can have 4 or 5 villains. Now I'm afraid that they are going to try and do Sinister Six like right now, and I feel like that is just way too soon. These guys need to slow it down, do 2 villains at the most. This is going to be a mess. I am 99% certain that this is going to be a problem. Having said that, like I said, the movie looks visually amazing and the action scenes look incredible. Ultimately, those things do not matter to me as much as story, character, narrative, and I feel like those things are getting thrown to the wayside in exchange for, hey, let's do more explosive action scenes with Electro and the Rhino. And I'm really thinking this franchise is going to hurt for that reason. Finally, I want to talk about the addition of Apocalypse to the X-Men franchise. Just hours after the Amazing Spider-Man trailer went up, Bryan Singer tweeted that Apocalypse will be coming in 2016. Days of Future Past will be coming in 2015. So I think that Apocalypse is going to be the big villain for the X-Force movie. We already knew that the X-Force movie would be coming after Days of Future Past, and as far as I know, the X-Men movies are trying to do a movie a year. This year we had The Wolverine. Next year we will have Days of Future Past. The year after that we will have X-Force. I think they're going to keep trying at this rate, and I'm pretty excited. Even when the X-Men movies are really bad, I'm still excited to see them. And most of the movies, even the ones that I don't like as much, I will watch them again and again. When I first saw that Bryan Singer said, hey, we're also going to do Apocalypse, I was really afraid that this was going to be a Days of Future Past thing, and that would crowd that movie even more. I'm a little bit more okay with him being a villain in the X-Force movie. This makes me think that they are going to try and pull a few things from Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Force. I personally would like them to just go with straight up Apocalypse. He is an immortal mutant. He is trying to get rid of all the weak, and he has 4 horsemen who are going to help him. I think that is the way to go. Don't try to do the cloning of Apocalypse stuff, which was done in Uncanny X-Force. You can do that after the character has been used quite a few times in the movies, but for his first appearance, I would rather they not do that. So I assume what we are going to have is a few X-Men characters who have appeared previously in the franchise all banding together to fight this mutant who is very terrifying, and they are probably going to try and kill him because all the other X-Men are not willing to do that. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. Overall, the last couple of days of announcements, probably the thing that I like the most is that Apocalypse will be showing up in 2016. If this had been revealed that he's going to be in Days of Future Past, I would have been very upset. But the fact that Bryan Singer said 2016 makes me think that this is going to be the X-Force movie that we're dealing with, and probably, since we're getting this information now, Days of Future Past is probably going to set up the X-Force movie in a similar way that the Wolverine set up Days of Future Past. That's probably the thing I am the most excited about, followed next by probably the Superman Batman movie, and then way behind that would be the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Actually, I would say Superman Batman and Amazing Spider-Man 2 are both about neck and neck. Right now, both of those movies, everything we have seen, shows that these people are trying to shove so much crap into these movies, and I just can't get excited when we find out there's going to be 15 villains in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and none of these villains are going to get their due time, and I'm afraid that's going to make the movie really, really suck. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Maybe you're upset with me. I know I've seen one person who's excited for Amazing Spider-Man 2. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I am about done talking about this. This was just meant to be my overall thoughts on everything that's been announced over the last couple of days. So what do you guys think? Are you excited? Not excited? Anyway, that is about all I have to say. So I hope you guys will like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys tomorrow with another kind of video. Catch you later.